an intense crime drama that deals with a real-world epidemic. Let's talk about King Ivory. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. I'm here to talk to you about King Ivory, which comes to theaters on November 14th, 2025. It is a new independent film by Swab. He is a legend in the indie film market, and this movie is maybe one of his best. My hot take is I think you should watch it. I like this a lot. I thought it was a solid crime drama that takes a really raw look at a real-world epidemic with intense action, a fantastic cast, and I like that it looked at it from all sides. There's no judgment, there's no answers. This is just kind of a lens into what the world could look like, what the world in John's like hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma looks like, and I really enjoyed it. So definitely think you should check it out. Definitely think you should watch it when it comes to theaters. And all that being said, I'm gonna tell you about the film. A few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really, really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there'll be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this movie, and you might not, there are some big surprises, there's some big events that happen. I would turn it off when you get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague, I'll keep it spoiler free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in King Ivory, you have like basically three main storylines. You've got the storyline from the cop side, you've got the storyline from the like on the street dealer side, then you got the storyline from the like gang perspective, the supplier side. It kind of interweaves all of these into one long tale and has ups and downs for everyone involved. So things I like about this movie. The first, I love the cast. It's a great cast. James Badge Dale, Ben Foster, Michael Mando, Melissa Leo, all fantastic actors, all play very different roles. I liked their characters. I liked kind of the differences in them and like the subtle ways that their characters shone through. Like no one is black and white in this movie. There's some gray. There's a lot of gray, as any sort of epidemic, any sort of like problem is. It's not black and white. There's plenty of gray, and the characters and the cast really highlight that. Second thing I love the drama. There's a lot of drama here. As you can imagine, it deals with drugs, it deals with addiction, it deals with supply and finding and helping your family, and that leads to a lot of drama as events unfold. The third thing I love the action. I thought it was actually pretty good. I've criticized John Swab in the past for some CG action. It's gotten much better in his later films, and this one I thought was really good. Very intense, really smart use of effects. I think they might use some CG, but there's a lot of practical here. I love when they're breaching and like a door gets pulled off and you can see the door frame shatter. There's definitely some real blood, or at least some fake blood, but like practical blood in this. So I think they did a really smart job with the action, and it's not a ton of action. It's not like an action film, but when they have it, it is fairly intense. The fourth thing I love the perspectives. Like I said, you got views from different sides, and there's no judgment here. I mean, there's probably a little bit of judgment, but not a ton. I mean, like everyone, it's just kind of like showing you the different influences, the different reasons why people are doing this. And I like that you got to see all three. I like that they interweave throughout. And the last thing I love the rawness. It is a raw film. There's things that happen that are happening in the real world, that are happening on the streets, and this doesn't shy away from it. This doesn't like sugarcoat anything. This film is a look into the drug trade and the fentanyl epidemic, and I really liked it. So, all that being said, things I didn't love as much. It's a little slow at times. I mean, it's a drama, so you get a lot less action. I was expecting this to be a more action-focused movie from the cover. There's definitely action in there. There's some intense action scenes, not as much as I was expecting though. So there is some slowness, but it's okay because the film is pretty good. And the second thing I didn't love, it's a little bit long. It's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I mean, there's a lot to say here, but it does feel like some minor scenes could have been cut. I'm sure they cut plenty from this movie to get it into 2 hours and 10 minutes. There were just some scenes where I was like, oh, like we didn't need that. But again, another minor complaint. Overall, I liked King Ivory. I thought it was, an interesting look. I thought it was a good kind of showcase of independent films. And I thought it was a nice kind of like encapsulation of a real world problem. So I definitely think you should check it out when it comes to theaters on November 14th, 2025. And all that being said, if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So in King Ivory, like I said, you got three main storylines. You've got Agent West, who is on the like cop side of things. You've got Ramon, who is, on the like cartel side. He is supplying drugs. He's moving people and drugs from Mexico. And then you've got Smiley, who is in prison. He recently gets out and he has to kind of like jump into this world. Not like a world they didn't know. He was definitely involved in the drug trade before going to prison, but he kind of comes in, becomes a supplier, like tries to gain favor, things there. He kind of comes in, starts working with one of the gangs here and starts to try to gain favor and also act as a go-between between them. So I'm gonna see if this works. I'm I'm gonna try to do individual storylines first and then see where they kind of merge. So we'll start with Agent West. We'll start with the cops. He is a drug cop, or I guess he is a drug cop. He's trying to work to stop the fentanyl trade. He goes on raids, but he also has a little bit of a problem at home. His son Jack is just a kid. He's experimenting with drugs. He's getting into trouble, and so it's kind of an interesting dynamic because West is all about taking down drugs, taking down criminals, and his son is kind of delving into that world slowly but dangerously. So as this movie continues, West tries to hunt down, the suppliers. He's trying to stop the drug trade in Tulsa. It is a tough gig though, because there is a native kind of crime organization that controls all the trade. They are working with, I think, the Mexican cartels, the Sinaloa cartel, to bring drugs up and distribute it. And so it feels like they are always working at a disadvantage. So West is trying to stop the trade. He's trying to investigate crimes that happen and tie them all together. But during all this time, his son Jack starts to spiral. His friends are kind of like goof ups. They are into drugs. His girlfriend especially is into drugs. She seems to be giving him a lot of drugs. And so Jack is slowly unraveling. He takes some Molly at school and gets suspended. His girlfriend gets him into, I think, fentanyl, but could be heroin. I'm not certain. It seems he's freebasing something. I think it was probably heroin, but from the kind of like, a subject matter, my guess is it's some sort of fentanyl. So that starts to cause a lot of problems for Jack, especially when one day, after he gets grounded, after he has a blow up at church, he and his girlfriend freebase some fentanyl probably, and his girlfriend overdoses. She dies. Jack has to call his dad. His dad comes in. His dad helps him out, tries to smooth the situation over. But all this is happening while he is intensely trying to stop the drug trade. Now, meanwhile, you've got Ramon, who is, I think he works for the Sinaloa cartel. He's kind of like the main person in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He is moving drugs and people up from Mexico. And during one of these trips, he meets this kid named Lago, who is this like nice, smart kid who wants to go to America. He takes him with him. But I did like this scene because it shows that Ramon has a heart of gold, but he's ruthless. He wants this kid to come. But when his parents can't pay for the fee to bring him to America, he forces them to sell their land. He's like, that's not how this works. Like, you can't do installments. So he is ruthless, but he also has a heart of gold because he takes them up. They drive to America, and during the time, there's something wrong with the trucks. I'm not sure if it was like it got too hot or if it was like sealed and there was no airflow. I think that's what it was. I think it was sealed and there was no airflow. So everyone in this truck, all 43, except for Lago, suffocate and die. Ramon wanted to pull over. The person who was driving was like, no, we can't. When they finally stop, everyone's dead except Lago. The driver was like, oh, we can just split the fee. And Ramon, showing it's kind of like heart of gold, like, he cares about these people, shoots the guy a bunch and takes Lago and takes care of him. This is one of the things that causes West to get involved in here. They are investigating this death and they link it to, the drug cartels because there is a brick of uncut Ivory. I think that's what it's called. I'm not really into that scene, but I think it was called Ivory. So Ivory is uncut fentanyl, I think. And so that causes them to start investigating all of this. Meanwhile, Ramon is trying to help out Lago, but also, staying on top of this, trying to, help the drug trade. And eventually that causes some later issues. Now, meanwhile, you've got Smiley, who was in prison. While he's in prison, he has to do a favor for the native, the native crime boss who is in prison, but kind of running everything from prison. And so after Smiley does this, he then starts working for the natives, and his first thing is to broker a deal, but he starts kind of doing favors for them. He and his cousin, maybe uncle, Uncle Mickey, take out some people, make it look like make it look like the California drug cartels did it. He starts to like negotiate between people. He is kind of like working his way through here. But eventually the cops investigation links Mickey to one of the deaths. And so they pull over Mickey. They're interrogating him. They want to get to Ramon. He tells them where Ramon is. The cops go to get Ramon. And this is where the storylines kind of interweave. They've interweaved a little bit, but this is where the storylines kind of interweave. The cops, led by West, go to take down Ramon. And when they get there, Ramon attacks West's partner, kills him, and he flees. So this cut makes it very personal for West. Now, meanwhile, that was not a good thing because that puts Mickey and the entire kind of like drug organization on the cops' radar because they took out a cop. And so this causes Smiley and his mom to have to take out Mickey. They're gonna take him to the native tribes to like have him be dealt with there. But Mickey gets wise to this. He jumps out of the car. Smiley has to take him out. That is one of the things that Smiley does to kind of try to regain favor with the nations after this big mess up. So Ramon is injured. He gets to like a motel that seems to be kind of like one of their bases of operation. He gets a bullet taken out of him from Smiley's mom, and Smiley's there too. They escape, but while Ramon is here, the cops have tracked him down. They've taken out like the auto shop where the drugs are being distributed. They then find this motel where Ramon is. They go in for a raid. They come in, guns blazing. There's a big shootout scene. Eventually, West sneaks up to the room next to where Ramon is. He takes out one of the native gang members, and Ramon flees. Eventually, West tracks him down to a store, and Ramon is high in the back. And again, this is where he kind of shows his heart of gold. He's high in the back. He could have a shootout, but he looks and sees that the owner is there and her little girl is there. Ramon has his own little girl that he cares a lot about, and so he leaves the gun. He doesn't have a shootout. He's holding like a necklace that his little girl gave him when West comes and arrests him. So that is the end of like this big endeavor, this big operation to take down the drug cartels. Ramon goes to prison. He gets taken out in prison by the native boss because I guess he messed up. He got the attention on there, wasn't very happy. He gets taken out by four people. And the movie ends with West talking to the native crime boss, and they basically go back and forth. Like West is like, I'm gonna track you down. I'm not gonna rest. I'm not gonna stop until this is all done. And the native boss is like, look, the rain falls on the good and the bad the same way. This essentially says like this is gonna keep happening. There's always gonna keep happening. So it feels like they are kind of at an impasse. West wants to stop the drug trade. Doesn't feel like it can be stopped. So that is kind of how this movie ends. Also, West's kid, after the whole like fentanyl overdose, he checks himself into rehab. So it was a tough road, but hopefully he will get better. West is going to be there to support him, and now he's going to continue to take on the cartels, and hopefully he makes out. He's kind of a badass, but that is a lot of people and a lot of money and a lot of influence to take on. So again, we will see what happens. Again, I liked that there was no big like lesson or kind of story at the end. It wasn't like West took down the drug trade and everything is clean in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's not how life works. It's not like the natives like took out West because they probably can't because that would be too high profile. So it ends in an impasse. It ends at we will keep doing what we're doing and we will see what happens. But that is kind of how life is. It's kind of how this problem is. And that is King Ivory. Like I said, I liked it. I think you should watch it. I think you should check it out. It's a little bit slow, has a few unnecessary scenes. But overall, I thought it was an intense, raw look into this epidemic with a great cast, plenty of drama, and some good action. So definitely check it out. If you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.